Good afternoon, everyone. It's Asia HRM time again. My name is Rita Choi, founder of Asia HRM. Asia HRM is an Asian human resources community whereby we help our human resources professionals resolve their work issues, challenges in a caring atmosphere. Recently, we have come up with the slogan of Asia HRM, which is we care to share and we share to care. And because of our care, we organize different type of activities for our members. Besides providing them with a platform for sharing and exchanging human resources ideas, we also organize activities such as the monthly sharing sessions, as well as the COVID-19 survey, which will be coming up very soon. And today, there's no exception. We have organized a book event launch session for Mr. Ritesh Agarwal, who is the Sales Capability Head for Asia Business Unit at PepsiCo. He's currently domiciled in Bangkok. He has recently published a book called Sales HR Strategy, with a focus on practical aspects of building a human resources plan for a sales team, especially in the consumer product sectors. He's a professional of over a decade of human resources management experience. Before we have an interview with him, to know him better and also to know his book better, I would like to welcome all the participants today to have joined us. And do feel free to write your questions in the chat box. And we will show your questions and then let Mr. Ritesh to answer them. Okay? And also for the first 15 people who have shown up at the session today, plus those who have registered with us, will be given a free download of his electronic copy of the book on the 10th of June. And we will be in touch with you for the details. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our big man of the day, Mr. Ritesh Agarwal, who is going to tell us more about himself and also his book. Ritesh, please.
Thank you, Rita. Firstly, thanks to Rita, Foster, and Asia HRM for agreeing to host my book launch event live on YouTube. Thank you so much, Rita. Thank you so much, Foster. Secondly, thank you so much, my friends and colleagues, for joining on YouTube. It's a proud moment for me, and I'm sure it's a proud moment for all my friends who have supported me to write this book and now to launch it. Hello, everyone. I'm Ritesh Agarwal. I am the author of the book Sales HR Strategy. I come from the city of Joy, Kolkata, which is in the eastern part of India. I had done my education in India. I'm an engineer as far as my graduation is concerned. And then I did my MBA in Human Resources from XLRI Jamshedpur. After my MBA, I have been working with one of the largest foods and beverages company called PepsiCo. And over the last decade, I have had taken multiple HR leadership roles in the company. This is my learnings and experience. I'm proud to launch my book, Sales HR Strategy, which focuses on designing and implementing right HR processes to manage the sales team for any company. I look forward to interacting with all of you today and even beyond as we move ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ritesh. So I wanted to know, as you know, for HR, there are different type of functions and different type of topics. Why did you pick this one for your book?
Well, the easiest answer to this is because this topic is very close to my heart. I have been planning to write a book on this topic for quite some time now. And it's just that I found, the motivation to compile all my learnings, my experiences of interacting with the sales team now in form of this book. Now, if you see, right from the moment we wake up in the morning, we come across many people who are trying to sell a lot of things to us. So, interacting with sales leaders and sales team is something which all of us do regularly. From an organization point of view, it becomes even more important, especially during these challenging times, to have the right processes to manage the sales team. And that's where I thought that my aspiration or my dream of writing a book on this topic matches well with what is the need of the hour. So that's how this book has been written, and I'm very optimistic that any leader, whether in HR or in sales or in business, would appreciate the practical aspects mentioned in this book.
I see. Okay. So as you know, in a book, especially in your book, there are a lot of takeaways, right? But if we really want to take one very important message or one tip from your book, what would that be?
Very good question, Rita, and a very tough one. Actually, this book has many important aspects which needs to be considered. And there cannot be just one size fits all when we are talking about formulating or designing a HR strategy for the sales team. However, in my opinion, not one, but I think two things are very important. And any HR professional will agree that hiring and firing, or hiring and resignation, or attrition management are the two most important HR processes for any organization. So if there is one or two more most important learnings which anyone can have by going through this book, is to how to manage the hiring and the attrition or the separation part of the employee from the organization from this book.
I see, I see. While you're talking about hiring, right? You know, as an HR practitioner, it's always a headache for us to find the right people from the market. Is there any tips that you can give us so that you can remove this headache for us?
Great. So, in fact, one of my first few chapters focuses on hiring and the the way to hire the right people. See, what happens is generally, as far as sales team is concerned, any HR business partner or any talent acquisition manager is always under pressure of time to hire the right candidate for the organization. In that particular time pressure, it is very important to have the right approach towards hiring. And this right approach starts by first deciding the job description of the role. And this is where many of the organizations don't do justice. I have seen that in many organizations the job description exists, but they are mostly outdated or they are not updated as per the current requirements and needs of the organization. So the very first step of hiring right person is to first identify what that role should do. Second most important thing is we can never get anybody or any candidate from the market who fits into the role in 100% manner. Generally, there is a lot of pressure from the sales leaders that HR team members need to hire 100% fit. But unfortunately, it is not possible. The best way to approach this is we should hire someone who fits 60 to 70% in terms of what the organization is looking for. And then have the right processes of onboarding, training, performance management, incentive management to fill in that gap of 30 to 40% over a period of time. Second most important thing which I have mentioned, which can easily reduce the headache of the sales HR VPs is establish a very strong sales trainee program in your organization. If you are having a sales trainee, a robust sales trainee program in which you hire freshers or people with little experience and train them over a period of time, then you are ready with the pool of talent available when you need them. In that way, you can also test the talent when they are doing their uh, training stint, as well as the candidate will also get to know what is expected out of the role of a salesperson in the organization. So these are some of the things which I feel are important as far as hiring is concerned, and this can reduce the headache of any HR professional or a talent acquisition person by being proactive for hiring rather than being reactive.
Very good. So, Mr. Ritesh, you mentioned about the sales training program, right? Can you give us more details about it? Because it's quite an interesting, I believe it's quite an interesting program. It also help us to train up some of the potential candidates for salespeople, right? Can you tell us more about this?
Sure. See, generally what happens is in sales, there are many headcounts and many roles that needs to be filled up. Generally, depending on the country and the business the company is in, attrition can be high or low. The advantage of having a sales trainee program is to address the need of providing the right person at the right time with the right credentials for the company so that the company doesn't lose very important time in terms of onboarding a person. Generally, in sales, it is said if you uh, are not having a sales guy for a particular store or a particular unit for considerable amount of time, the company loses its revenue. So the sales trainee process is a way in which you can hire the right number and the right people, take them through a proper training program for 6 months to 1 year. In that period, whoever are the people who show the spark and who can understand the business well, you can offer them pre-placement for any vacancies that come as part of the business. That ways, you have a pool which is available to get hired in the particular roles which the company wants, as well as the candidate also gets a flavor of the organization. It's a win-win proposition for both the candidate and the organization. In these 6 months of training, you will be able to make every candidate understand what is the fundamental way of operating the business. So that way, you can have talent which has been developed internally, a talent which has been groomed by you, a talent who would be more loyal to you versus any other way in which you hire other people.
So here come a question from my friend Buva. He asked if this work for sales of intangibles such as the life insurance companies.
Very good question. See, any company focuses on two important things. First thing is to build a brand of that particular company, right? Whichever, whether it's an insurance sector or a pharmaceutical sector or FMCG, company first wants to build a brand for itself and its products. Second most important thing which a company wants to do is to sell its products and services. Now, in terms of insurance, it's more of a service and less of a product. So when we are talking about the sales trainee program, it, it the whole service industry revolves around building the knowledge base of your employee. So the sales trainee thing, or the rather entire sales HR strategy in a service sector or a service oriented company becomes even more important because you need to spend the time to develop the knowledge of the hires that you have made. So I think it is very, very practical and it's very, very pragmatic way of approaching any industry, including insurance.
I see, I see. Then, Mr. Ritesh, you mentioned about earlier about having this sales training program and also some of the strategies in hiring the right people, right, for the sales team. Then, as you know, for salespeople, if they're smart, they're very smart. Once they have spent a few years with the company, then they'll be gone. Okay, maybe to climb a corporate ladder with another company, or they might even start their own company. So how would you deal with that, especially on retaining them?
Very good question. See, any company wants smart employees. Any company wants low maintenance employees. Any
Hmm.
company wants who can take further the vision of the founders and ensure that the objectives of the organizations are met. So it's very important that we, apart from the hiring strategy, the training and development strategy, we have an attrition or turnover management strategy. Now, in my book, I have spoken about two very important processes which any company can set without spending much dollars. Very first thing which I have mentioned in my book is each company should set up something which would help them to identify the talent landscape within the organization. Now, there are various existing models like the 9 box models, like the models which helps us segregate the talent within the company. This is those models, one can actually identify the entire talent landscape in a particular company. Now, once you identify the talent landscape, the important thing is to establish a very strong connect with each and every sales team member and understand what is the probability of them writing from the company. Now, this you can identify only when you have a very strong connect and you are able to understand what are the employee grievances and to which grievances the organization can resolve and which grievances organization cannot resolve. So, basis these two mechanisms, one, to identify the talent landscape so that it will help you to identify which are the must needed talent in your organization, which you should definitely retain. And second, you establish a strong connect with your sales team so that you are able to identify what are their grievances and then solve for them. This is these two particular ways one can have a model in which you are able to reduce any turnover which the company is facing over the last many years. And in fact, I can say this with a lot of confidence and a lot of experience because in my first role as a sales HR VP, there was very high attrition of the sales guys. And we were struggling as a business to keep ourselves performing at an optimum level because of high turnover. So this particular HR process of attrition management is very close to my heart. My book has more details of what I just mentioned. Ultimately, each company is defined not only by its vision, it is defined by the talent that they are able to hire and the talent they are able to retain while running the company.
So, Mr. Ritesh, I like the word that you mentioned about connect, right? You need to connect with people so that you know about their grievances and so forth. So, on that, do you have any tips or interesting stories that you can share with us on how to connect with the people?
A very good point. See, first thing which I have mentioned in my book is sales HR BPs, the HR people handling sales, they should not think their jobs as a desk job. This is not a back-end job. Sales HR BPs are intricate part of the sales system, and the business looks forward to their insights, and the business looks forward to the value they can add to the business with their proactive connect. The reason why I say it is not a desk job is every HRBP should make an attempt to go out to the market, to go out to the field, try to get their hands dirty and connect with their sales employees while they are working in the fields. It can be true for the stores, it can be true for people working in FMCG companies, it can be true for people working in service sectors. Until and unless HR manager actually spends a lot of time on the field working with the sales guys, he or she will not appreciate what ails the sales system. So the very first thing which I would recommend is go out there, get your hands dirty, and then learn as much as you can about the role, about the person, and about the challenges they face in their day jobs. A very good example which I can share from my organization is my organization always asks you how many days have you spent working in the market in whichever role you are when you are connected with the sales guys. The best of the leaders in my company, they ensure that they spend disproportionate time of theirs working out there in the field. You will be really surprised to know that when we go out to the field, we don't stand there as a spectator. It is up to us to actually get our hands dirty, literally, by cleaning the Pepsi bottles, by cleaning the Lay's bags, properly ensuring that it is merchandised, interacting with the shopkeepers, interacting with our own team, and then understanding what are the areas of improvement. So, getting the hands dirty for any sales HR guy is very, very important.
Wow, I love that. Making your hand dirty, right, in order to get the thing to get your job done nicely. Very, very nice tips. Thank you for that. We have a question from one of participants, June, here that how do we sell our HR strategy or proposal to the senior executives? I think I'm sure that you are an expert in this area. Can you give us some insights on how to do it?
Sure. See, the very first thing which we should realize is not many companies can afford a full-time resource in sales as an HRBP or in sales as a learning and development professional focused only towards sales. Only very few organizations in this world have that intention to hire a full-time resource to manage sales HR. Definitely, when organizations and when leaders are hiring sales HR, they are expecting the sales HR manager to add a lot of value to the business. I would go back to what I mentioned before. The very first thing in which a sales HR VP can add value is to ensure a solid connect with the ground. Sales HR guys need to understand what is going on in the minds of the sales team, what they are thinking, what are the problems they are facing, what are the good points that they appreciate for the organization, and be the voice of their employees to the management. So when you have a strong connect, you know what is happening on the ground, and then you can be the voice of your employees. And that's where management and your leader will understand that yes, this particular person adds a lot of value. Second
Mm.
most important thing is, like I said, see, any sales guys need to have the right talent. Sales HR BPs can hire and add a lot of value by ensuring the proper HR systems are designed right from recruitment till separation. And my book has more details about what I am talking about. It lists 11 HR processes which can be designed, which can add a lot of value to the sales system and eventually to the business. Important thing here is people should not think that we cannot connect our performance to business results. There are many tools mentioned in this book which can help you actually connect the effort that any sales HR puts in and the revenues which can be earned by the organization because of the proper HR processes. You can read my book to know more about it.
Wow. So another question is, how do we align with top management on hiring strategy? How do we align with the top management on hiring strategy?
Very good point. See, generally what happens is we can bring two sorts of information on the table. First information is our understanding of what is happening on the ground and what can be improved. Second most important is are the numbers. And when we are talking about the numbers, we need to have those numbers which impact the business directly. Number of headcount, number of attrition, hiring speed, employee engagement scores, the impact of training on revenues through training evaluation are some of the KPIs or some of the hard facts on the table which any HR manager can bring and accordingly align the management basis the understanding and basis the hard numbers on the ground. Very important example could be if a territory is vacant versus if a territory is filled, what's the difference in the revenues that come? And that's where you can add that if you hire a person for that territory, what can be the delta or what can be the change in revenues which can get impacted just because you are hiring the right person. That's how you can build more value. That's how you can add your substance to the entire business.
Very great sharing. Then just a question. Then a sales guy can join HR?
So to be honest, in my current role, I am not part of the HR team. I am part of the sales team. So a person is sitting right in front of you who is from HR doing or working in the sales team. And I'm sure in many organizations, sales team members can also join HR. Why not? See, at the end of the day, both the sales and the HR are important functions in any business. And if you are keen, bring the value on the table, and I'm sure your leaders would be very, very keen in giving you either the role of of the sales team if you are in HR or vice versa.
Okay.
And
Here comes
the other important aspect is as an HR, you also need to design a talent pollination strategy which encourages your existing employees to do cross-functional roles. Only then an HR can uh, understand the pain of a sales guy, and a sales guy can understand the HR challenges. So you should encourage cross-pollination of talent across functions as a HR leader for your organization.
Very good point. Talents across functions. Very good point. Another question is, what is your proven tactic so that salespeople do implement the things in work they learn in a training and development program? What is your proven tactic so the salespeople do implement the things in work that they have learned in a training and development program?
Very good question, Tabsir. Thank you so much. To be honest, this is one of the major challenges and one of the biggest questions that any leader asks the sales HR or the sales capability guy, that how do you actually ensure that people implement what they learn? See, couple of things. One, please don't do anything which is not the need of the hour. Sales guys, as such, they are stressed on time to deliver multiple agendas on the front. We should not load up the sales guys for additional things which doesn't add value to their lives. So don't do anything which is an add-on thing. Two things which people are keen. Try to find out ways or make ways in which there is a pull for the training versus a push for the training from your side. Second most important thing, whenever you are developing the training content, do not develop the training content sitting in the office. Go out there on the field. Involve as many sales guys as you feel to prepare the content. Vet the content using the sales guys. Only after they are happy with the content, only then roll it up. Third thing, whenever you are doing a training program, ensure that you communicate the objective of the training program. Tell them that they will be monitored for the KPIs that will get impacted as part of the training. When people know that they will get evaluated for the training programs, then chances of them implementing the learnings on the ground is much higher. And finally, most important thing, always be open to feedback. Don't think that whatever you have created as a training content is the final one. Any training content needs to undergo many revisions. This is the feedback from the ground. Be flexible, be open to feedback, and be adaptive to change that the people want to make in terms of learning program. Very important thing is also, like I said, don't make your training program lengthy. Keep it short. These days, micro learning videos, SMS bursts, WhatsApp learning is on rise. Use those learning nuggets to ensure that people understand your topic and they are able to implement it on the ground easily.
Wow, a lot of great tips like hearing their feedback, make it short, and so forth. So here comes another question. Does the book cover any ideas, analysis, or input on HR versus sales staff views on sales staff salary packages, in particular balances between fixed versus commission? Does
Very
the book
good question,
cover
Fred.
any ideas? Yeah, Mr. Ritesh, yes.
Yes, very good question, Fred. Thank you for asking this. See, the compensation plan and the incentives are one of the key drivers for any sales team. Now, the very first thing which I have mentioned in my book is any compensation strategy should ensure what are the existing practices of that company in that country. In many countries, the fixed part is defined by the existing labor laws. Ensure that your starting point is the fact that what are the existing rules and regulations for the minimum package guaranteed by the government. To start from there. Second is, of course, what kind of weightage will you give to the incentive program? Now that also depends on the product category. It depends on your capacity to pay incentives, your product portfolio, your service portfolio, and the fact that how keen or aggressive you are in order to grow. Many organizations can adopt various strategies around this, and hence in my book I have not recommended what can be the best strategy, because there is nothing called a best strategy which can fit all organizations. Every compensation strategy needs to be modified as per the domain which the company is working and as per the existing norms in that particular country and in that market.
Thank you. Thank you. So there comes another question. How do you decide between hiring employees on company's payroll or third-party payroll? Any quick points one should keep in mind about this? Hiring own people or third-party payroll?
Very good question, Shruti. Thank you so much for asking this. It's a difficult call. Again, the first thing is we need to understand what are the hiring norms and what are the labor laws around it. Mostly what happens is people feel that hiring on third party is the cheaper option. And that's where they say that let's not increase our employee overheads. Let's hire the people on third party roles. Again, there is no one size fits all or no best way to recommend on this. Different countries and different companies have different ways of hiring people either on their roles or on third party roles, depending on the business and depending on the markets they are in.
Okay, very good. So, and next, wow, Mr. Ritesh, you have a lot of questions lined up here. How to align sales strategy to wider HR strategy and the business objectives?
Thanks, Anuditi, for asking this question. It's a great question and a very difficult question to answer. But let's look at it this way that any business strategy is incomplete without a proper HR strategy and without a proper sales strategy. So a business strategy is only complete when these elements are properly sewn in the entire elements of business strategy. Now, in terms of aligning the sales strategy to the wider HR strategy is concerned, we need to remember that the processes needs to be intuitive. They cannot be archaic. They cannot be theoretical. They need to address the needs on the ground. If they address the needs on the ground and if they address the overall business strategy, any business leader would be able to be happy to adopt it in a very easy manner.
I see. Okay, so here comes. I think about the stakeholders' real expectation and how to add value to benefit them.
Thank you, June. Thank you for this comment. Yes, you are right. See, no strategy or no process can be made sitting in the office without understanding what's going on in the market. So it's very important to, of course, align the entire all the stakeholders in whatever you are doing. It's important to take their view when you are designing any process, and it's important to be open to feedback when processes go wrong.
So, Mr. Ritesh, understand that in your current role, you have to look after 5,000 salespeople, right, in different countries in Asia. How does it work? Due to different culture, different beliefs, and so forth. How do we adopt this kind of sales strategies in order to get the things done well?
Very good question. Thank you for asking this. Yes, actually, this is the reason why I joined this role a year back. This is a very big challenge for any HR professional. And in my role as a sales capability head for Asia BU, this is the biggest challenge which I am facing right now. See, what happens is same company in different markets are in different phase of evolution. People there are markets who are very good, who are on the extreme right hand side of the spectrum. They have all the HR processes that you can think of. They have all the capability building processes that you can think of. And then there are companies who, due to many reasons, are at the starting end of the curve. So, as a sales HR or as a capability person managing the sales team, it's important to have strategies to understand this nuance of where the market is and accordingly have a policy around it. No doubt, people who are in the beginning phase, they need to have more focused strategies and they need to have more focused initiatives. And people who are on the extreme right hand side of the spectrum, they need basic support and basic encouragement. So you are right. This is one of the biggest challenge, and the way I am solving this challenge is to understand the phase in which each business is, consider the feedback from the ground, and accordingly have my sales capability plans made around them.
But Mr. Ritesh, how do you do it? Because you cover so many countries. Are you really go to each country and then spend time with the most of the salespeople there? And how does it work? Since you have a big population.
Sure. So First thing is, yes, I mentioned that it's important for all of us to travel. I frequently visit Vietnam, Malaysia. Thailand is, of course, my current country where I'm staying. So market visits and working with the sales team is very, very important. And that's what each of us strive to do. Unfortunately, over the past few months, because of travel restrictions, we have not been able or we have not got the opportunity to travel much. But I ensure a very strong connect with all my sales capability and the sales leaders through regular interactions with them on Zoom. So first thing is, yes, we need to connect. We need to be regularly connected with them. Second thing is, here in this part of the world, what I understand is we need to have language capabilities for any interventions that we do as far as training is concerned. So any particular initiative that I take, I ensure either I create a local learning content or I translate my existing learning content into the local language. Third is, of course, the reach. We cannot ask our sales guys to come to classroom every now and then to attend training program. So we have adopted the micro learning videos. We have adopted many other innovative processes to have learning content available to our sales guys on their handhelds.
Wow. Okay. So Mr. Ritesh, you also mentioned about this. Now you focus on these sales strategies, right? Sales HR strategies, and especially for the HRBP for the sales department. So for other HRBP who are not responsible for sales, would they be able to get some insights from your book so that they can also put into practice?
Sure, Rita. See, this book focuses on having the sales HR strategy right. But
Mm-hmm.
this book also mentions the core HR processes that are needed in plants and in headquarter offices. So
Mm-hmm.
anybody who goes through it will get a glimpse of what can be the right way of designing the HR processes. This book teaches you how to fish. It doesn't teach you how to cook a fish. So if you know how to catch a fish, you can of course cook it in the way you want. So this book can prove a good reference material for HR professionals across multiple domains, but the focus is more towards say managing sales HR.
Wow, great. Yeah, okay, okay. So wait, Kenna, right? A question from him. Does it cover approach to improve diversity and inclusion in your book?
Thanks, Kannan, for asking this. I think it's a brilliant question. Yes, diversity and inclusion are very important topics, and there are some important points mentioned in the hiring strategy and in the talent management strategy in this book. Now, when we look at diversity in many countries, it is relatively focused only towards gender diversity. And gender diversity in sales in many developing countries like India always remain a challenge when we are hiring people to work in the sales force to go out there in the field. So this book has few tips around how to manage the talent diversity across multiple geographies, as well as this book has some of the ways and best practices which are applicable in many countries.
Hmm.
You
So,
will need to read the book more to know more about what I've mentioned here.
okay, okay. So what is your next plan after this for Mr. Ritesh?
Well, to be honest, a couple of things I'm thinking. One, I want to co-write another book focused towards real life case studies. I have some of my friends as professors in IIMs and as HR heads for big companies here in Bangkok. I would want to co-write a book with them covering real life case studies so that it becomes a logical extension of this book. Of course, after this, I would want to write something which is a more general topic rather than a focused topic on sales HR. So I'm yet to finalize those topics, but I'm sure I will continue writing in my free time. I'll continue contributing to the HR field in the years to come.
Okay, so here comes my last question here. Okay, so what do you want to tell us before we can conclude the session today?
Great. The point that I'll say is I feel that sales teams are one of the most important teams for any companies. Having a very well designed HR systems and processes will only facilitate the sales team in any company and lead to better revenues. So it's important to have a well designed HR strategy for our sales guys. And that's where I want to share that this book will help you appreciate the practical nuances of managing the sales team.
Wow, very good, very good. So I don't have any other question for you because you have already made a lot of good response to our questions. Especially, I'm sure we have a lot to take away from you. As if I have read your book and I read a lot of takeaways. For those who haven't read your book, I'm sure that after this session, they'll be in a rush to get your book, right? So, Mr. Ritesh, can you mention about how to reach out, how to buy your book, or how to reach out to your book? Can you tell us here now?
Sure. Thank you so much, Rita. Thank you so much, friends, for asking this. See, it's a very simple thing. Just log on to Amazon.com, just type sales HR strategy, and you will find my book on that website. You can buy an ebook version or you can buy a paperback version. And do read the book. And I look forward to your reviews and comments on Amazon.
Okay, thank you very much for all the participants today, and thank you, Mr. Ritesh, for a very nice introduction of your book, as well as a lot of insights that we have received and we have got from your answers today. Okay, thank you everyone here. This has concluded our session today, and have a very nice weekend. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Foster. Thank you, my friends, for joining in today. I look forward to interacting with you as we move ahead.
Thank you. Bye bye.